Hello everyone, Jonathan McReynolds calls out Michael Todd. This isn't real ministry. The moment gospel singer Jonathan McReynolds, known for his soulful music that speaks of authentic faith and devotion, raised his voice to openly challenge Pastor Michael Todd, one of the most talked about and unconventional preachers of this generation. The Christian community was left stunned, shaken, and deeply divided. Jonathan, who has always been admired for his humility, his deep scriptural understanding, and his desire to live a life that is as pure behind the scenes as it is in the spotlight, has rarely been the type to publicly confront or critique others. But the growing controversies surrounding Michael Todd's ministry style, his theatrical sermons, his over-the-top stage productions, his provocative sermon illustrations that some say border on blasphemy, and his bold attempts to blend entertainment with preaching, have finally crossed a line that Jonathan could no longer ignore. In his powerful and heartfelt call-out, Jonathan insisted that what the world is seeing is not real ministry, not the humble service of Christ meant to transform lives through the power of the Word, but rather a performance designed to entertain, shock, and build a celebrity brand rather than disciple believers. He pointed to the ways Michael Todd has gone viral multiple times, not for profound teaching but for controversial moments such as spitting in his hand during a sermon illustration, hosting Broadway-level productions inside the sanctuary, or reducing sacred messages to catchy slogans that trend more on social media than they do in the hearts of listeners. Jonathan, who has long believed that ministry must be rooted in authenticity and the quiet power of the gospel, warned that when pastors become entertainers, churches risk turning into stages and congregants into audiences instead of disciples. He expressed concern that too many young Christians are being drawn to the charisma of the preacher rather than the cross of Christ, and that what Michael Todd is presenting as ministry may be drawing crowds but is not necessarily transforming souls. His heartbreaking point was that real ministry is not supposed to be about lights, fog machines, or viral clips. It is about teaching, serving, and carrying the burdens of others with sincerity, even when it is not glamorous. Jonathan's words immediately ignited debates across the faith community, with some applauding him for his courage to confront what they too have silently wrestled with, while others accused him of tearing down a fellow minister instead of extending grace. But Jonathan made it clear, this was not about jealousy or competition, nor was it about tearing down Michael Todd personally. It was about sounding an alarm for a generation that is confusing hype with holiness and applause with anointing. He reminded listeners that the Bible warns of a time when people will prefer messages that tickle their ears rather than truth that pierces their hearts. And he argued that Michael Todd's ministry, no matter how appealing, risks being exactly that, an entertainment-driven show that keeps people engaged but spiritually shallow. Yet Jonathan's message was not one of condemnation alone. It was also one of hope and redirection. He pleaded with pastors, leaders, and believers to return to the foundation of real ministry: prayer, teaching, discipleship, and genuine love, reminding everyone that while creativity and modern tools can be useful, they should never replace the essence of the gospel itself. He spoke with sadness about how young believers are increasingly measuring the success of a church not by how deeply it roots them in God, but by how exciting the experience feels, and he urged people to wake up before the church becomes more of a spectacle than a sanctuary. In breaking his silence and calling out Michael Todd, Jonathan McReynolds has done what few in the gospel community have dared to do: risk his own reputation to speak truth that many know but fear to say aloud. His warning is not just about one pastor, but about an entire trend in modern Christianity that prioritizes style over substance, and his boldness has opened the door for deeper conversations about what real ministry should look like in this generation. Whether or not Michael Todd responds, the words of Jonathan McReynolds now echo loudly in the church world, forcing believers everywhere to ask themselves, are we following Christ, or are we following a show? And that sobering question may prove to be the most important wake-up call the church has faced in years. Thanks for watching.